We've switched out our guests today. They're not from across the pond. They're back right here in Mississippi, and they're up to some really good things. They are going to be helping fight food insecurity in our state. They're a great partnership, which I think is definitely needed. We've got Miss Stacye Trout and Miss Laurie Williams. They're with the Community Foundation of Northwest Mississippi, and they're here to tell us more. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you here. So, Laurie, I'm going to let you go up first to kind of give us the background of how Community Foundation of Northwest Mississippi and all the partners that are coming together for this.
I'm actually a partner. Molina Healthcare of Mississippi has a foundation called the Molina Cares Accord Act, and so it funds grants to the different health plans. And so we were pretty bold. We asked for $1 million.
Woo, go girl.
And we wanted to address food insecurity in the Delta, North Mississippi. And so our first year was a little slow start. We bought a refrigerated truck for our food pantry. And I thought there's got to be a better way to reach people. And that's when we met the Community Foundation. And we wanted people that had boots on the ground, that knew the grassroots of where the need was and what would be the best way to make sure the people that really needed the help were getting it. And so enter Stacye Trout in her wonderful community organization. So I'll let you take it.
Yeah,
from
y'all
there.
are definitely up to good things. Y'all have been intertwined in many stories here about feeding people through different avenues. So it's nothing necessarily new. So you knew exactly probably what Miss Laurie was trying to achieve. But kind of give us the overall of like the Community Foundation, what y'all do on a daily basis.
Yeah, so since 2002, we have served Northwest Mississippi, mainly the Delta. We take in donor-advised funds, mostly endowments to support charitable causes. Our mission is connecting people who care with causes that matter. And over the years, we have been involved in lots of different partnerships, such as Molina Healthcare. But one of the things that led us to this, we adopted childhood obesity in 2004 as one of our main causes. And since then, we have worked with health and education for youth and children, but really around the whole childhood obesity epidemic here in Mississippi and really the Delta. So fast forward to COVID, and we still helped, obviously, with healthy food and childhood obesity, but we knew we had to help those food pantries and just get food to people who needed it, the children who were out of school, the parents who were out of work, everybody suffering at that time. So we not only knew who was doing the healthy work with those health outcomes, but we knew the people that was just, they were trying to get the food to those rural food deserts, the places without transportation that you don't think of here in Jackson or up in DeSoto County. We just don't think of that. And people, when you get down into the dirt of the Mississippi Delta and really the backwoods, they don't have transportation.
How do you explain a food desert to folks who may not know what that means, Stacye?
A place that you cannot get to a grocery store. You don't have access to healthy food. You don't even have access to a convenience store where you can get food. And it's truly a food desert. You have to drive miles and miles to get your food.
Right. I think it used to be the average Mississippian lived 27 miles from a grocery store, right?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, well, I'm only 5 miles. Yes, you help cut that, but some people are 40, 50
That's right.
sort of miles, and we don't necessarily think of that anymore. So, Laurie, this is kind of a unique partnership. I mean, this is going about it in a little bit unique way. Y'all are asking people to come in and be sort of a part of it, of the community. So what's going on? I mean, there's a lot of different partners here. So how did everybody come to the table?
Well, really, again, it's Stacye Trout. I mean, and the Northwest Community Foundation. I mean, they have various groups that rely on them for grants, but also that leads to others that may, not have even known about the possibility of a grant. And I think one of the ones in Tishomingo County, for example, I would have never known about that resource, and it's a wonderful thing that we've been able to help with that as well, just because they were a foundation that needed help and approached the Community Foundation, and perfect match. But one thing that I think Stacye said that I think is important, that we have children 12 years of age with high blood pressure. Yeah. And you know what that is? That's going through fast food every day because there's not a grocery store. And it's easy. So educating young children about smart food is what we call it, not healthy food, but smart, and that they can grow their own gardens. So community gardens are big with Head Start and Boys and Girls Club. all of that gets funded through these groups and these funds that are available. And the foundation's done an incredible job.
Well, with Laurie and Melina, we've been able to identify those people, those grantees that are out there doing the work, and we're able to make transformational gifts to continue that work for 1 year, 2 years down the road, or indefinitely, depending on how much the grant is. But I think right now, first and foremost, the biggest highlight right now is working with Extra Table, and we're excited about that. May 15th and 16th. The 15th, we're going to be in Clarksdale. May 16th, we're going to be in Hernando. And I believe right now, Martha Allen said we are the largest food distribution.
She would know.
I know.
She would know.
She said we're the largest food distribution of their prepackaged red beans and rice meals. So our goal was to make sure we gave these packages out to as many people who needed food as possible. We work with a lot of backpack programs, and they send these kids home with what they can, with snacks, and it may not always be meals. And so when you package this meal together that's nutritionally sound, it can go home and it'll not just serve that kid, it'll serve a family of 4. So one package feeds 4 people. So our goal within 2 days, we are going to give out 15,000 packages to feed 60,000 individuals.
Wow.
Headed home healthy.
Yes,
That's great.
yes. And so we have partnered with the food pantries that we work with. We have partnered with some other nonprofits, even like City of Hernando. They have a whole West End section that they work with for food insecurity. They're trying to work on some community gardens. We're going to get some food out to them. The Junior Auxiliary of Tate Panola, they partner with the schools, and they give the counselors boxes of these foods. So then when they find out a kid is living in their car, or their house is burned down, or something has happened, their parents have left and they are by themselves, we can at least give them a meal and then figure out how else to help them from there.
One thing I like, Laurie, as a registered dietitian from the healthcare perspective, is that you guys at Melina have at least recognized that the prevention starts really young.
It does.
And it starts with access to these healthy foods, right? And in creating and cultivating a kid who will want and try them. I know there's a lot of roadblocks to that, but the community gardens is a great way, too, to get them interested and curious about smart foods.
Oh, sure.
I like the wording.
We do a utterly delicious, creepy crawly chef's kitchen for kids, because we've learned if they play with their food, they'll eat it. And so just pointing out that, grapes are just as sweet, and watermelon and bananas are just as sweet as a bag of chips, but also teaching them about reading labels. Many of them never knew what that was.
Right.
And when they realized and started looking at how much salt is that actually, and we'll pour it out on the table, it's like a huge mound. It makes an impression on kids, and they remember it, so it's a good thing.
It's like with the tobacco fight, too. Kids was a huge proponent of that to help teach up. And so if you got the kids to kind of buy into it, then they would go home and
Tell their
parents or call out their parents, and so, that may not happen in every household that you guys reach, but you said 60-something thousand meals, I think. I mean, if it starts one conversation or two conversations, or has a kid start saying, hey, Ma, I want this instead of that, because I promise you a lot of parents, too, who do have the ability to purchase groceries, if their kid's asking for it, and especially if it's healthier, we're putting it in the buggy.
That's right. That's right. One of the grants we were able to give out through Melina last year, the Junior Auxiliary of Tate Panola, they went to East Tate Elementary School, and the elementary school actually they thought they had to buy something, or they had never had anybody contact them just to help their kids. And we're like, no, what do they need? Well, one thing almost every kid asked for was a blanket, not a toy. And so we used some of the Melina funds to give them huge bags of healthy snacks. And I mean, it was so much more than if we had put a Little Debbie cake in there and some candy. And it was bananas, it was some healthy pop chips, it was the chomps, it was apples, it was all sorts of stuff. I mean, probably a whole weekend worth. And these kids, they couldn't believe how much there was. And one of them said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I hadn't eaten breakfast. I can't wait to eat this banana. my gosh, that's so simple.
Things that we definitely take for
They were
granted.
amazed at what was in that bag.
And
like
food
you said,
insecurity impacts Mississippi from top to bottom,
Yeah.
left to right, all the ways around. How can we find out more about this, Stacye, if we want to get in on some of the package packing parties or just help in general?
So our hub, our nonprofit and volunteer center, Kara Dulaney, Brenda Smith, they are coordinating all of our volunteers. So email volunteer@cfnm.org or call our office at 662-449-5002 to get involved.
All right. And Laurie, if people want to learn more about Molina, how do they do that?
Just call Molina Healthcare Mississippi.
All right. Y'all keep doing the good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I appreciate you both. You guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.